When I filed for divorce, my daughter clung to her father's neck, crying, "Bad mommy. I hate mommy. If you divorce daddy, I'll stay with him and let you grow old alone." In my past life, I ignored her childish threats and fought for custody. I raised her with all my heart. Still, she resented me until the day I died. On her wedding day, she invited her father's mistress on stage, thanked her for taking him out of a failed marriage, and called her mom. I stood there, humiliated. When I opened my eyes again and saw that same little face, I no longer felt the urge to fight. "Fine. I don't want an unlikable child anyway," I said coldly. Jack was stunned. "What nonsense are you saying in front of the child?" he snapped. I looked straight at Annie, hiding in his arms. "She doesn't want to stay with me, and I don't want her either." Annie's tantrum froze. Then she screamed louder. "Bad mommy. I hate you." Jack tried to calm her. "She's just joking, sweetheart. Mommy carried you for 9 months. Of course she loves you." Annie looked at me waiting. But I didn't flinch. I didn't say a word. Jack glared. "You want a divorce and now you don't even want your own child? Are you still a mother?" I answered flatly. "Wasn't she the one who said she didn't want me first? I'm respecting her wishes." Annie's face twisted. "You're the one leaving first. If you care about what I think, why are you still divorcing? You want to make me a child without parents." In my past life, I explained gently. "Your father had another woman. That's why I'm leaving." But she had stared at me with disgust. "Maybe it's because you're not good enough, so daddy needed someone else. My classmate's mom is perfect. Her dad would never cheat. You're not good enough. I don't want you either." Those words shattered me. I had given her everything. My time, my energy, my love. I thought one day she would understand. So I kept loving her more, hoping she'd see it when she matured. But she never did. On her wedding day, she thanked her stepmother, calling her mom. The three of them embraced on stage. I stood below like a stranger. Back in the present, Annie looked scared. "I didn't say anything wrong. We should stay together." I scoffed. "Your dad begged me not to divorce because he cheated. Divorce doesn't benefit him. In my past life, I made too many concessions just to keep you. I gave up everything, cash, company, pride. Not this time. I can give up the child. But the money? I'll take it all." Jack's face turned red when I exposed him in front of Annie. "Have you no shame? You had the face to do it. I have the face to say it." Then I asked Annie, "Even so, do you still want to stay with your dad?" She hesitated. Jack squeezed her hand. She looked up and said firmly, "Yes. Of course. Jack's perfect daughter." I turned and left without looking back. At my apartment, my mother called. "Did the divorce go through?" "No. I'm drafting a new agreement." "You're not giving up the company again to keep Annie, are you?" she asked. "No. This time, Jack leaves with nothing. And if Annie disagrees? She can go back to the Jiang family," I said coldly. "This time, I'll only cherish what's worth cherishing." Days later, I drove to an orphanage in a nearby state. I asked for Lily. "She's at a math competition," the director said. Then she handed me a photo, a thin girl with bright, spirited eyes. In my past life, when I was 46 and dying of liver cancer, Lily, an orphan I had sponsored, came to care for me. She bathed me, fed me, read to me, even used her savings for my treatment. She said, "Without your help, I wouldn't have been able to keep studying. Let me repay you." How ironic. The daughter I raised turned on me, yet a stranger repaid me with love and kindness. The director smiled. "If you're serious about adopting Lily, I'll call when she's back. She's very sweet, just a bit older than most adoptees." "I don't mind," I said. Before going home, I went to the mall. I'd asked the director for Lily's measurements and bought clothes and shoes. I chose styles Annie used to like, thinking all little girls were the same. That's when I saw her, Annie, holding Jack's hand with one hand and another woman's with the other. It was Wendy, Jack's mistress. The three of them walking together looked like a family of three. Seeing me, Jack and Annie both froze for a moment, their expressions a bit nervous. As if they were afraid I would make a scene. If it were the old me, seeing him bring Annie out with his mistress would definitely have infuriated me. But now the Jiang family had nothing to do with me. I just glanced at them and walked straight ahead. As I passed by them, Jack grabbed my arm. "Annie has been thinking about you these past few days. Why haven't you come to pick her up?" Following his words, I looked down at Annie and saw her pouting and standing to the side, looking at me cautiously. But a second before my gaze moved to her, she quickly turned her head away, hiding behind Wendy. I sneered and asked back, "Is this what you call her missing me?" Jack was a bit embarrassed. "Who told you to hurt the child's feelings last time? You're a grown-up yet you're holding a grudge against a child. In the end, aren't you still buying gifts to make up?" He glanced at the bags I was carrying and breathed a sigh of relief. He beckoned to Annie. "Come on, Mom bought you gifts. See what you like." Hearing the word gifts, Annie's eyes lit up. She walked forward pretending to be reserved, her eyes constantly scanning the shopping bags I was carrying, then snorted coldly. "Even if you bought me gifts, I won't forgive you." Unless you promise not to mentee on divorce again and apologize to me and Dad, I won't call you Mom again. I chuckled. Who said these were bought for you? Annie was stunned. For a moment, she didn't know if I was joking or serious. From childhood, I had always given her whatever she wanted. Even if she said she wanted a star from the sky, I would have found a way to get one for her. But today I said the things in my hand weren't bought for her. Soon, the bewilderment on her face was replaced by anger, her eyes widening as she looked at me. Jack also frowned, looking at me disapprovingly. You'd better stop now. Do you have to make the child angry again to be satisfied? I brought her out today to cheer her up and finally got her in a good mood. While she's happy, you should quickly apologize with the gifts. Don't make things difficult for yourself. Hearing his words, Annie shouted along. I don't want her gifts. She already said they weren't for me. Jack smiled helplessly. Little princess, you're her only precious daughter. Who else would she buy those dolls and little dresses for if not you? She just can't bring herself to apologize to you. Hearing this, Annie's expression softened. She glanced at the shopping bags in my hand. I don't know what she saw, but her eyes suddenly lit up. However, she didn't dare to come forward because of my cold face. Jack also saw it and pointed at the pink box. Isn't that the crystal pony you've always wanted? We came to look last time and it was out of stock. Your mom specially bought it to apologize to you. He pushed Annie's back. Quickly say you forgive Mom, and Mom will give you that little pony. He coaxed the child while giving me meaningful looks. Annie looked at him, then at me. All right. She pouted, walking up to me very reluctantly. For the sake of this crystal pony, I'll forgive you. She looked at me arrogantly like a little adult and added, but you can't mention divorce again. Also, Aunt Wendy is a very nice person. In the future, you can't give her a hard time, and you can't stop us from seeing her. If you can do these things, then you can still be my mom. After saying this, she looked up at me, seemingly waiting for my answer. I sneered. I don't remember doing anything wrong that needs your forgiveness. And I think I told you these things weren't bought for you. Please don't flatter yourself. Faced with my mocking eyes, Annie's face turned red in an instant. She was both embarrassed and angry, her whole body trembling. It looked like she was about to cry again. Jack immediately hugged the child and growled in a low voice. Enough! Even jokes have limits. You say these things weren't bought for Annie, then who did you buy them for? Annie is your only child. If not for her, who else could they be for? At this point, Wendy, who had been standing aside, also came over. Annie's mom, if you've done something wrong, you should apologize promptly. Don't lie to the child because you're embarrassed. Annie is such a good girl. If she were my daughter, I would dote on her endlessly. How can you bear to make her cry? As she spoke, she sighed. She gently patted Annie's back. Annie, be good. It's just a little pony. Aunt Wendy can buy one for you too. Annie's face finally looked better. She nodded while sobbing, hugging Wendy very affectionately. I pulled at the corners of my mouth and didn't say anything. This toy pony in my hand was a limited edition from a luxury brand. Without a VIP consumption record in the millions, one wouldn't even have the qualification to buy it. Buy it? What could she use to buy it? Her life. I coldly watched the father and daughter who were moved to tears by her words, finding it all ridiculous. They usually used my VIP card to sweep through high-end shopping malls, visiting luxury stores as if they were going home. But they never said a word of thanks to me. Now they've learned to be grateful. I had no interest in watching their performance anymore, and turned to leave. Sure enough, an hour later I received a call from the store clerk. Ms. Rachel, your husband and daughter want to use your VIP privileges to purchase a crystal pony pendant. But since they didn't bring the VIP card, and you just bought an identical one, I wanted to confirm if I should grant them access? I raised an eyebrow. No, and never again in the future. The clerk had put the phone on speaker. My cold words were like a resounding slap across the faces of those three people. Even through the phone, I could imagine their red, embarrassed faces. In the background, I could hear Annie crying and making a fuss. Wendy's soft voice came through. Ms. Rachel, I just wanted to buy Annie a gift. Then go ahead and buy it. She choked for a moment. But that pony requires accumulated VIP consumption privileges, which I don't have. What does that have to do with me? I chuckled. After saying that, I hung up the phone. 3 days later, the orphanage director called to say Lily had finished her competition. If I hadn't changed my mind, I could bring the documents over to sign the contract. That afternoon, I drove to the orphanage again. Besides bringing the necessary adoption materials, I also bought a lot of stationery and toys that children like. Seeing this, the orphanage director smiled from ear to ear and organized the children to line up and come forward one by one to receive gifts. The little girl walking at the very back was wearing a school uniform that had faded to white. The sneakers on her feet were frayed at the edges. Her hands hanging at her sides were tightly clenched, her doe eyes looking at me curiously, yet warily. I smiled and waved at her. She pressed her lips tightly together, not moving. The director patted her shoulder. Only then did she shuffle over. By now I had given out all the gifts. The table was empty, and a look of disappointment flashed across Lily's eyes. But soon her eyes lit up again, because I took out a new school bag from the car, filled with new stationery and notebooks. There were also 2 math competition books. I gently stroked her dry hair. I heard from the director that you like math the most, so I bought you 2 books. Do you like them? Lily touched the school bag, then touched the books. Her little face was flushed with excitement. She looked up at me and said in a small voice, "Thank you, I like them very much." Seeing her like this, I knew I had chosen the right gifts. Before leaving home, I had originally wanted to bring the princess dress and Barbie doll I bought at the mall that day. But then I remembered that in my previous life, when Lily was taking care of me, she said that when she was little, she envied other children the most for having new school bags to carry and parents to buy them books. She only had second-hand or third-hand school bags passed down from the older kids at the orphanage. If she wanted to read books, she could only go to the library and sit for an afternoon. When she came across content she liked, she would copy it down with pen and paper. When she talked about these things, there was only a faint regret in her eyes. No resentment, no dissatisfaction. But given another chance, I wanted to give her the best. After giving out the gifts, the director helped me and Lily complete the adoption procedures. Before signing, she patiently looked at Lily. "Are you willing to go home with Rachel?" Lily carefully glanced at me, then nodded with a red face. I brought Lily back to the apartment near my company. The apartment had a 2-bedroom layout. The second bedroom had previously been converted into a study. After deciding to adopt Lily, I had someone come and make some slight modifications. The bookshelves and desk were kept, and a bed was added. It was perfect for her to study. Having her own room for the first time, Lily's eyes turned red. She hugged my waist and choked out a "Mom." The next day, I took Lily to the police station to change her name. It was changed to Lily Song. During the remaining month and a half of summer vacation, Lily and I were almost inseparable. When I went to work, I would bring her to the company. I would handle work while she sat at the side table doing exercises. This period of getting along made our relationship grow closer day by day. Under my guidance and doting, Lily also learned to act coquettishly with me. Life was getting better and better. If it wasn't for Jack's phone call, I would have almost forgotten about him. Since I refused to grant them VIP privileges last time, Jack and Annie hadn't sent me a single message. But their social media updates were more frequent. Every day they were either going to amusement parks, zoos, or aquariums. In the photos, Jack, Annie, and Wendy held hands and smiled at the camera. The perfect image of a family of 3. With captions like "simple happiness." This was purely to provoke me. But I didn't care. As soon as the call connected, Jack's roar came through the phone speaker. "Rachel, what do you mean by this? Do you really want to tear this family apart to be happy?" His mother was also nearby. "You vicious woman, you've turned a good family into such a mess. You'll come to no good end." Hearing their accusations, I didn't know what had happened at first. The next second, a message from the lawyer popped up. "Ms. Rachel, the divorce agreement has been modified according to your wishes and sent over. Attached is the property division document and various expenses of the Jiang family over the past few years. Don't worry, we will definitely be able to recover this money." Seeing these 2 messages, I curled my lips. My mood, which had just been soured by the scolding, improved considerably. Jack's mother was still cursing loudly. The Jiang family had been peasants digging in the fields for 5 generations up. Jack's mother used to sit at the village entrance cursing with that group of people. The filthy words spewing from her mouth were as foul as manure. I muted the phone and placed it face down on the table. 10 minutes later, I hung up directly. After a while, the phone rang again. "Let's talk." This time Jack's attitude was much better. "Talk about what?" I asked. "I don't think we need to get divorced." His tone was stiff. "Look, Annie is still so young. She needs a father right now. Your insistence on divorce will really hurt her a lot." As if to prove his point, Annie's crying sounded from the side. "I want Daddy. I want Daddy." Jack pretended to sigh. "See? Annie really can't do without me. I know you mind about Wendy. I won't see her anymore if that's what it takes." At this point, Jack's mother finally couldn't help but take over the phone. "Annie's mom, you can't just think about yourself. You're a mother now, you should put the child first in everything. Which man doesn't fool around a bit these days? Our Jack is successful and handsome. It's normal for young girls outside to like him. Besides, if you really get divorced, our Jack can easily find a younger and prettier girl than you. You, a divorced old woman, will find it hard to remarry." As she spoke, she put the phone to Annie's mouth and asked, "Annie, do you want a new daddy?" Annie cried loudly. "I don't want to. I don't want a new daddy." Listening to the Jiang family's self-directed and self-performed drama, I found it amusing. Seeing that they had performed enough, I spoke up carelessly. "Haven't you misunderstood something? I never said I wanted custody of Annie, did I? Why don't you read the agreement carefully before coming to talk to me?" The three people on the other end of the phone were stunned simultaneously. Then came the sound of Jack frantically flipping through the agreement. He had only seen that I not only wanted him to leave with nothing, but also wanted to recover all the Jiang family's large expenses over the past few years. In a fit of anger, he had called directly to question me. He hadn't carefully looked at the issue of Annie's custody at all. It wasn't until now that he saw that line of small print. At the strong request of Jack and Annie, I, Rachel, voluntarily give up custody of Annie. Jack's eyes nearly popped out. How could you be willing to give up? I sneered. Isn't this exactly what you wanted? I knew Annie was still beside them, so I said with a smile. After all, we're mother and daughter. I'm willing to fulfill Annie's last wish. There was a moment of silence on the other end. Jack's mother gritted her teeth hatefully. Are you even human? You don't even want your own child. As she spoke, she couldn't help but push Annie. Your mom doesn't want you anymore. Why are you still standing here like an idiot? Annie cried out in pain with a loud wah. I just listened, not saying a word. Seeing that I had truly become cold-hearted towards Annie, Jack stiffened his neck stubbornly. Whether or not you want custody of the child, there's no way I'm leaving with nothing. That money is all marital property. Jack's mother also seemed to suddenly wake up and chimed in. Right. That money is marital property. What right do you have to demand my son leave with nothing? If anyone's leaving with nothing, it should be you. A woman like you taking so much money would just be benefiting other men. Shameless. After saying this, they hung up the phone with a bang. Lily heard the commotion from her room and came out to ask what had happened. I said it was nothing, then patted her head. Have you prepared everything you need for school? She nodded. It wasn't until school was about to start that I realized Lily and Annie were actually at the same school. I originally wanted to transfer Lily to a different school, but considering that this school had very good teaching resources and the teachers really valued Lily, I gave up on the idea. Besides, Lily was a grade above Annie, so they weren't on the same floor. So I thought there shouldn't be any problems. But less than a month after school started, I received a call from Lily's homeroom teacher. Someone at school said Lily had stolen something. When I rushed over, I could hear the intense argument in the office even through the door. Annie's voice was unusually shrill, with an aggressive tone. Stealing at such a young age, you'll definitely be a criminal when you grow up. I didn't steal. Lily retorted. You did steal. You stole my crystal pony. That was bought for me by my mom. You're just an unwanted orphan. You don't have a mom. Who would buy you anything? I do. Lily's voice trembled slightly. I do have a mom. My mom is very good. No, Annie said viciously. You just don't. No one likes you. No one wants you. You're just a thief. You stole my crystal pony. Enough. I pushed the door open. Two voices rang out simultaneously in the office. Mom! Mom! Annie and Lily both looked up at me. Unlike the joy in Lily's eyes, Annie's face was full of excitement, with a hint of relief. As if she had breathed a sigh of relief. Of course I knew why. Since Jack called to make a scene last time and found out I was determined to divorce and really didn't want our daughter, their family had started all kinds of crazy stunts trying to grab the property. After being blocked by my lawyer, they even sent Annie to reconcile with me. They had her say she wanted to stay with me. The purpose was to slowly drain my money bit by bit, just like in my previous life. But Annie hadn't even seen me. This was our first meeting in over a month. She thought I had come to help her. Sure enough, the next second I heard her crisp voice. Teacher, my mom is here. Annie held her head high arrogantly. After speaking, she walked over to hold my hand. Just as she was about to touch me, I moved a step to the side. Then I walked straight to the bewildered Lily. I put my arm around her. Hello, teacher, I'm Lily's mom. After I said this, I felt the stiff body in my arms soften. In contrast was Annie's breakdown. What are you saying? She ran in front of us with red eyes, pointing at Lily. I'm Annie. I'm your daughter. She's just an unwanted orphan. How could you be her mom? I narrowed my eyes, my expression cold. Watch your language. Lily is not unwanted. I want her. I am her mom. You're the one I don't want. Lily gripped my hand back, shrinking further into my embrace. Seeing this, Annie's emotions became even more intense. No, I'm your daughter. Have you forgotten? Every time I had a fever or got carsick, you would carry me on your back to the hospital for an injection. Afterwards, you would carry me back home. You said you weren't tired even though it was such a long way. And when I was 5, I knocked over the kettle of boiling water. You got a big blister on your back protecting me. You loved me so much, how could you not want me? As she spoke, her tears flowed uncontrollably, trying to evoke my maternal love. But the more I listened, the colder my heart became. So she knew all along. She knew how good I had been to her. Yet she still pretended not to know, taking advantage of my love to hurt me recklessly. I pulled at the corners of my mouth and ignored her. Seeing this, the homeroom teachers of both classes also roughly understood what had happened. After proving that Lily hadn't stolen anything, and it was purely Annie's false accusation, I demanded that Annie publicly clarify and apologize in front of the whole school at next Monday's assembly. After dealing with this matter, I took Lily home. That night, she crawled onto my bed hugging her little blanket. Her small body curled up in my arms. "Mom," she sobbed while stroking my back. "I will be very, very good to you." A few days later, the lawyer sent a message saying the agreement had been finalized. I could go sign it directly to end things. On the day of the divorce, I brought Lily with me. The Jiang family of 3 sat opposite us. Jack's mother hated me to the bone, her eyes bloodshot as if she wanted to rush over and bite me to death. Jack and Annie looked much more haggard than before. Both of their clothes were wrinkled and messy. Annie hadn't even combed her hair, just tying 2 small braids at the back of her head, all disheveled. A few days ago, I had hired a security team to drive the 3 of them out of the villa area. Without maids and servants to wait on them, these 3 people's lives didn't look good at all. This was the life they were supposed to have originally. The reason I hadn't made them move out before was because there were surveillance cameras I had set up in the villa to ensure Annie's safety. After seeing that I was dead set on divorcing, they were actually stupid enough to invite Wendy to live in the villa. Add to that his previous showing off on social media. It just happened to let me collect quite a bit of evidence. Jack was a man of little ability, but loved to keep up appearances. The lawyer threatened that if he didn't obediently sign the divorce papers, the videos and photos would be sent directly to his company. He had no choice but to agree. Seeing me enter holding Lily's hand, he sneered. "No wonder you don't want Annie. You already had a bastard child outside." I glanced at him. "Watch your words. I have quite a few things of yours here." He glared at me hatefully, his cheeks puffing out. After signing the agreement and receiving the divorce certificate, I still had to take Lily to the neighboring state for a competition. Before walking out the door, a small hand grabbed the hem of my clothes. I turned back to see Annie's dirty little face. "Mom, I know I was wrong. Let me stay with you." If she had only 1/10 sincerity in saying she wanted to stay with me before, this time she must have had 10/10. After all, she had suffered through these miserable days. She understood who truly cared for her. Plus I heard Wendy was pregnant, and it was likely to be a boy. Annie's status in the Jiang family had plummeted. Every day she was either beaten or scolded. If it wasn't for the minimum $600 monthly child support I still had to pay, she might have been thrown out long ago. But what did that have to do with me? It was all her own choice. I removed her hand and walked away without looking back. Behind me came the sound of Annie's cries and Jack's mother's beating and scolding. Later I heard that Annie didn't even finish middle school before dropping out. She hung out with a group of delinquent youths. She even got pregnant before marriage, not knowing who the father was. Jack was so angry he beat her severely. Then one day when the adults weren't home, she locked her feverish little brother in a room, stole all the savings in the house and ran away. Jack and Wendy's son was left disabled from the high fever. Jack's mother had a stroke from the anger. Wendy and Jack argued every day at home. On a dark and windy night, Wendy also ran away. Jack was left dragging a big and a small invalid, making frequent mistakes at work until he was fired. In the end, he could only work as a laborer on construction sites. 26 years later, Lily had become a top international mathematician. I handed the company over to professional managers to run and traveled the world with her. Just like when she was little. She would attend lectures and forums while I would go shopping on my own. Then we would go home together. My assistant called me, saying a woman claiming to be Annie had come looking for me. She asked why I didn't want her in this life, causing her to end up like this. Hearing this, I knew she had come back too. But it didn't matter. Everything was already set in stone. It was all for the best.